Welcome back to DigiBear. I'm Tom, and today I want to talk about one of Amazon's many different programs they have. Today we're going to specifically talk about their hazmat program. Their hazmat program, also known as hazardous materials, which is also known as dangerous goods, is a program where you're allowed to sell certain restricted products on Amazon under very specific guidelines. So certain products are permitted and certain products are just, they're not going to let you sell no matter what. But that no matter what list is pretty expected. Things like fireworks and hydrochloric acid and all sorts of things that we wouldn't be selling anyway. Amazon offers this program to select sellers. And what it's allowing you to do, it's allowing you to sell some of these approved hazmat items, which is good for a variety of reasons. One of the most important reasons is not everyone are in these programs. So not everyone is doing it, which generally makes it a less competitive environment. While it's a less competitive environment, there's a lot more rules and restrictions involved in it that you got to be aware of. Some of the rules that you have to be aware of are things like storage limits. Hazmat items have completely separate storage limits than your regular items. And if you drill down even farther, different hazmat items will have different storage limits. For example, your aerosol storage limit may be different than your other ones. So it's one of those things that you want to really pay attention to because those storage limits start off very small and you can fill them up pretty quickly. Another thing about hazmat items is similar to oversized items, they ship to their own specific fulfillment center. So that means if you have a very large shipment going on with some hazmat items, you can absolutely guarantee that you will have a split shipment. Now, this works for some of us and doesn't work for others, but it's something you want to be aware of. Some people don't mind split shipments. Me personally, I hate them. I loathe them. Another thing about hazmat to consider is when you are shipping these items, you have to send it by ground, which means you can't use any sort of air transportation, which could sometimes add a little bit of time to your transit time. But it's not a huge deal, because let's face it, who's shipping air? Hazmat items also have different prep requirements than regular items. They may be more involved or complex, but Amazon will break that down for you. You gotta make sure you have the proper labeling on these products. Amazon has these hazmat products in here for a reason. They're to comply with local laws. They're to make sure that their carriers are safe. They're to make sure everyone is safe. So they take these rules very, very seriously. So you want to make sure that if you're going to get involved with these programs, you want to make sure that you understand it completely and fully. In the Amazon Seller Central help section, there is a ton of information on this. Identifying a potential hazmat product may be difficult at times. However, if you're like us and you use the extension RevSeller, which I know we talk about all the time, it actually tells you right there when you go to a product page. Big red letters, Haz. So you'll know it's hazmat. Now, if you click into that, you can see what the requirements are, if you're allowed to sell it, or if it's something that just can't go at all. If that doesn't work for you and you don't have the RevSeller extension, you can always try to manually add the ASIN to your inventory. When you get to that point, you're going to have to enter the dangerous goods information. It'll tell you pretty much right there whether you can or can't. Periodically, Amazon will ask you for something called an SDS sheet. You're going to want to check with your supplier to make sure that you have these available to you. Additionally, you can appeal something that is labeled as hazmat with these sheets from time to time. I'm not sure how much luck we've had with it, but it can be done. And remember, these regulations and rules are on us to know as sellers. Amazon will help us out with the stuff that they know, but ultimately, we need to know the rules. We need to know what's acceptable to sell and what's not acceptable to sell, what we can ship, and more importantly, what we can't ship. The bottom line is the hazmat program is an opportunity to be in a less competitive environment with potentially larger margins. Now, speaking from personal experience, we have sold some hazmat stuff in the past. We've never gotten really deep into it, but we really haven't given it a fair shake. So if you're looking for somewhere to go that might not be as competitive, this might be the place for you. But make sure that you do all of your research and understand exactly what you're selling and exactly what the laws and the rules are, because Amazon takes this stuff very, very seriously. These regulations and rules are on us to know as sellers. Amazon will help us out with the stuff that they know, but ultimately, we need to know the rules. We need to know what's acceptable to sell and what's not acceptable to sell, what we can ship, and more importantly, what we can't ship. So let's dig in and learn the rules.